Hey everybody, it's Krissy Nordhoff. I'm so happy to be with you. I hope that you've had the opportunity to take the songwriter personality test at this point, and you've probably gotten some feedback. I hope that not only has it helped you as far as clearing up your identity as far as who you are as a songwriter, but I also hope that it helps you to understand how others write songs and then how you would best fit into a room and what would give you the greatest possible combination for success in a co-writing room. So hopefully that's gotten you off to a good start as far as the songwriting is concerned. I have a lot of more tools that I would love to share with you, and some of those I want to share with you today. And first of all, I'd like to share with you why I'm enjoying this process of mentorship and why it's important to me. I moved to Nashville about 22 years ago, and I prayed for a mentor at that point. I began praying for someone that had juggled ministry and family and industry and all of those things and had done it well and had done that successfully. And I prayed that prayer for 15 years. And year 15, I asked the Lord, why have you not answered that prayer? That was a good prayer. And that's when he said to me, be what you need. And at that point in time, my mindset sort of shifted from looking for a place to be mentored. And I began to realize I did have some things that I could share with those coming behind me. Not only did I have a greater understanding, but I also experienced what those needs were. And I knew a little more insight as far as how I could help meet those. So we began meeting in my house with several people, and that, of course, has grown over the last almost 9 years now into some beautiful things through the help of the Lord and His guidance. And one of those things is basically it's called the Worship Songwriter Mentorship Course. And I will share a little bit more with you in detail at the end of this. But first, I'd love to give you a few really important tips or tricks, little things that I've learned about writing and about the heart as it pertains to worship that I believe I can just pour into you today. Some things I can give to you that will add value to your writing, but also to your relationship with the Lord. So the first of those things is something that is more focused on the heart, and that is called two-way journaling. I've been two-way journaling for the last couple of years, and it's really been a new way for me to communicate with the Lord. And the thing is, when your communication is an ongoing, regular thing with Jesus in the mornings, you actually don't have to strive and strain when you get in the writing room, because you just have to listen, and you've already become to be aware of Him. You've already practiced being in His presence. So when you get in a room to write worship, it should be no different than that time that you spend in the mornings with Him. So two-way journaling is a little bit different. It's basically you journaling, writing down your thoughts, your feelings, your prayers. Sometimes I'll journal on a scripture, a specific scripture. Sometimes I'll be stuck on one word, and I'll let that word sort of take me on a treasure hunt. And I'll search dictionary.com. I'll search thesaurus.com. I'll search eSword, which is an app that I love. I'll search Bible commentaries and find all that I can about that one word. There are many ways to go through this process. Those are a few. And then after I'm done writing out my thoughts, questions, prayers, all of those things, my research sometimes, then I will sit and I will wait for the Lord to respond. And it is prayer to me. It is very much like prayer. And now you do have to be careful. You have to make sure that what you're hearing back from Him is scriptural. And it's good to do this in community just to have accountability. But I'm telling you what, I've heard Him speak to me in ways greater through this two-way journaling than any other way, and it's really helped to open up my ears. And much like prayer, a lot of times we pray one way, and we don't stop to listen for a response back. this has taught me to listen for that response back, and how it's changed everything. I wanted to share one of my journal entries with you, and this comes from actually November of last year, and I'm just going to read to you the Lord's response to me. So my question to him was, Lord, do you have fresh manna for me? And then this is what happened next. This is actually me. I see you baking fresh bread, and it smells so good. I see you pulling it out of the oven with a large wooden paddle. I see the bread. On the bread is written intimacy. I'm supposed to eat it. It tastes amazing, but somehow I've been gluten-free this whole time. What have I been missing? Whoa, I've been spiritually gluten-free for years, picking and choosing which bread I will eat. Afraid of some, thinking it will hurt me, maybe afraid of intimacy too. Oh, Jesus, help me to daily eat the bread you put in front of me. I'm sorry, Lord. I've been afraid to eat, and all the while, the bread was called intimacy. Help me to eat what you put in front of me. I don't want to be a picky eater, be it trials or triumph. There's goodness in the bread. It will feed me what I need. Keep my heart hungry. Oh, bread of life, be as irresistible to me as a fresh-baked loaf. Let me never skip the manna you have for me each morning. There's something about the morning, isn't there, Lord? It's the time you chose to give the manna. And I also know that with manna, it didn't last more than one day. Yes, Lord, I see it now. No one can live off of stale, moldy bread. It's the fresh bread that gives life. I need it every day. Help me remember that skipping meals or eating junk other than your goodness will leave me spiritually malnourished. And of course, then I took this and went to scripture to compare and make sure that this was scriptural. And here's what I found. John 6:33 through 35. The true bread of God is the one who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Sir, they said, give us that bread every day. Jesus replied, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Okay, so that was sort of the journaling experience I wanted to walk you through. It's really been amazing to me how this translates into the writing room. And I think if you could experience this in the mornings, I think it would totally transform your writing as well, specifically when it comes to worship. And I would really strongly suggest that when you begin writing worship, make sure you're worshiping. Sometimes we skip that step. But don't forget to worship in those sessions either. And this journaling experience is really a process of leading our hearts into worship as well. Just like prayer, just like song. There are many ways, and this is one, a fresh new way for me. So the next tool I would like to share with you has taught me more about writing worship than anything else that I have studied, read about, experienced, and it's basically, I've called it psalming. And this is something that I've personally learned from going through the Psalms myself and singing them out loud. And so I literally just began in my Bible with Psalm 1, and I sat it in front of my piano and began to sing. Now, you don't need an instrument for this at all. You can just use your voice. You don't have to play something. And sometimes it's nice not to be totally uninhibited and just use your voice. But it was beautiful as I began to do that, what I learned. So one of those things is sort of a formula that I saw David have over and over and over in the Psalms, and here's what it is. First of all, a lot of times David starts out in a tough place, and we'll hear sometimes about fear or sin or isolation, or he's in a cave somewhere scared, but usually it starts out sort of in one of those places. And then next, David will cry out to the Lord. And he cries out knowing he will be saved, but sometimes it takes a long time. Have you ever been in a place like that? I know I have. And then third, the Lord will hear and will answer. And not until all of those three things have happened will he get to the number 4 step in this process, which is then David worships. And I realized in absorbing this process over and over in the Psalms that the journey is a really important part of the worship. And a lot of times our worship songs will go straight to worship. And I think there's a place for songs like that. But a lot of the time we miss hearing about the struggles, the honesty, the journey that leads to worship. It's sort of like watching a movie. If you go straight to the happy ending and you don't feel any of the struggle in the movie, or you miss out on the story behind it, then it makes the happy ending a little bit less sweet. So I really feel like that is something very important that I've learned through singing the Psalms. I'm going to show you a psalm right now, Psalm 28, and this is something that I want you to see if you can see this process in that I just shared with you, that process of David walking through that journey before he gets to worship. Here we go. Don't turn a deaf ear when I call you, God. If all I get from you is deafening silence, I'd be better off in the black hole. I'm letting you know what I need. I'm calling out to you for help and lifting my arms towards your inner sanctum. Blessed be God. He heard me praying. He proved he's on my side. I've thrown my lot in with him. Now I'm jumping for joy, shouting, and singing thanks to him. Could you see that process, that journey before David got to the actual worship? I'm sure you could. And I've noticed plenty of other things in Psalms as well. I've seen choruses, I've seen refrains, I've seen all kinds of patterns, and it's beautiful. And then plus on top of that, just the pure honesty of David's heart is incomparable. And if we're looking to write worship songs, shouldn't we look at those songs that have stood the greatest test of time? And I truly believe there's something supernatural that happens when you do it. There's an impartation of sorts that I can't put into words, but you'll know what I mean if you'll try it. So check out psalming and see what you think of that. Our next tool that I want to share with you is a very practical tool. And in this course, which I shared with you about, we're going to cover heart, like we sort of did with the two-way journaling. And we're also going to get into the practical side of things. So the psalming is sort of somewhere in between, but I'd like to share a very practical tool with you next, this song mapping. So song mapping is a great way to help you begin to frame a song. In the very center is the heart of everything that you want to say in the song. It's sort of like a target. And I'll just write a circle around that very center idea. It may be a word. It may be a phrase, a short phrase, not a really long phrase. But that's the main idea in the very middle. And then we'll begin to brainstorm around that idea and begin to have little bubbles that come out from the main one, little different directions that we can go with our thoughts. And then outside of those bubbles, there will be little families underneath those. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. This is from a silly song I once wrote called Umbrella. And you can see umbrella in the very center of that song map. And this is just simply my brainstorming. Everybody's brainstorming will look a little bit different, and that's totally okay. But when I see something like this, it automatically helps me to categorize and organize and structure my thoughts into verses and a chorus and a bridge. So when you're looking at your map, something like this, the verses would be the things that would give the details, reasons, feelings, or explanations, sometimes in the form of lists. The chorus will be your big idea, many times the why answer to the verses, and this should be the center of your song map. And then also the bridge will be why else with a twist, and it gives a deeper meaning to the chorus. We're going to take a look really quick at another song mapping example. Look at this. I mean, this is brainstorming at its best. This is unbelievable. But it's a beautiful way to get out everything that's in your head and then help you sort of to categorize, organize. And of course, you're not going to write all of those things into one song. I've even seen song maps where someone starts on one song and we end up saying, hey, all of these could actually be on a second song. So sometimes we'll split those into two songs instead of one if it gets too large. But this is a great tool for you to use. I wanted to share one of my recent songs with you called Back to Life. You may or may not have heard this one. This was a co-write with Michael Farron and James Galbraith, and Mandisa recently recorded this song. But I feel like this song really helps to show you a picture of what that song map looks like in a clear way. So remember I told you the verses, they will give details, reasons, feelings, explanations, sometimes in the form of lists. The chorus will be your big idea, right? Your why answer to the verses. And then your bridge will be why else with a twist. So I'm just going to read to you some of these lyrics. This is verse 1. I breathe out confusion. I breathe in your truth. I breathe out all my fear. I breathe in your peace. Could you hear that list? It's giving reasons. And you don't know that until you get to the chorus. Your chorus, remember, is your why answer to the verses. And here's what the chorus says. I'm coming back to life. I'm feeling hope arise because of you, only you, Jesus. And I'm leaving the rest behind. My heart is satisfied because of you, only you, Jesus. So not only is that the answer to those verses, but it actually literally says the word because. And it lets you know right there that's the why. And then when we get to the bridge, remember the bridge is why else with a twist. It says resentment, depression, and all anxieties, they have no power over me. Addictions and strongholds and every disease, they have no power over me. So it tells us why else. But it goes a little bit deeper than that chorus does. And it, by the time you get done with the chorus means something completely deeper. And that was on purpose. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of how to get started with writing songs and writing worship songs specifically. So first we need to prepare our hearts, which is what you can do in your time with the Lord. And really it does take that for worship. So preparing your hearts by spending that time, opening your ears, opening your heart. It's a beautiful way to do that. And then you've got your psalming, which is sort of that transition piece where you're learning, but it's still really heart-led and heart impactful. And then finally, you're taking maybe something that you've even learned in the psalming, or maybe there was a phrase in one of those psalms that really stood out to you or caught your heart. And when you feel that catch on a phrase, make sure you're always writing those down. Then you could take that phrase and put it in the center of your song map. Possibly even use the psalm to give you support or ideas or lists or feelings or reasons, right? To help shape your verses. And you'll be amazed at what God can do with those simple tools. There's a couple things I wanted to share with you too as far as resources go. So whenever I'm writing songs, I used to use my journal all the time, and that's fine if you want to do that. I've sort of transitioned now over to my computer. I always work on Google Docs because I can do that in real time with other co-writers, and it's easy and helpful to see what everybody sees. I also use rhymebrain.com. There's a songwriting tool on that website, which is very helpful and I really like. It's free. Then you can go to thesaurus.com, which also you don't need to open a new tab for dictionary.com. You can go back and forth between those two, which is super helpful. And then for your recordings, just use your voice memos on your phone and make sure as you're getting ideas, you're also putting those down. And a good place to do that is in the notes on your phone. And make sure you're always backing your phone up. I've made that mistake before, but it's a great way to always have ideas with you. I'm constantly taking notes, all kinds of places, even during church. A lot of times I'll be writing down little notes, and it's just good to know that you have them all in one place and it's digital, so you don't have to worry about losing it. I've lost that before too. Okay, so I wanted to show you now a little deeper look. So yes, there's a lot more detail about the things that I shared with you today, but there's a lot more tools, a lot more heart. And I wanted to just show you a peek into this worship songwriter mentorship course. So this is something that it took me about 9 months to put together, but really it took about 25 years to learn all of these things to pour in. So this is sort of our logo. You can get a little feel just looking at this what it looks like, but it's actually a teachable course. So it's an online course. And we have it all set up. I'm going to just show you inside, actually, so you can get a good idea. This is the inside of the course. And basically, it's set up in 8 different sessions. We recommend doing a session a week, but actually, you can go as slow or as fast as you'd like to. Each session is set up with different parts. They all have a prayer and praise in the beginning where we're worshiping. And then it'll go into the personal, which is the heart side of things. Then we go into the practical, which is hands-on songwriting skills. And then finally, we'll put all of those things into practice. And the way that I have it set up, the Lord really showed me a picture of building a home. And so we've sort of put in the flavor of building throughout this course. Each session builds on the next. So our first one will be foundation. Our second one will be framework. The third one is the roof. The fourth one is doors, etc. It builds. And by the time you get through session 8, it's closing day and you are ready to go. So let's just take a little peek inside of one of the videos just so you can kind of get an idea of how this is going to go. This is basically something you do on your own. Watching the videos, walking through the exercises, and that type of thing. But there's also a community aspect I'll show you next. But first, here's a little video, just so you can sort of see what I'm talking about. As we begin our journey together, I feel like we first need to talk about foundation. When it comes to houses, many times we don't even know that the foundation is there. If we go house hunting, for instance, it's not really the first thing that I look for. Okay, there you go. So each session will have a script of the entire thing in writing. You'll also get an outline in every session, which if you're a note taker, would be great for you. It gives you the general overall view of every session in writing. You get chord charts for all of our worship songs in each session. There are creeds, there are things that you speak aloud. There are all kinds of different tools. I try to appeal to many different types of learners. So yes, you will be inside of this course, working through it a week at a time on your own, or however you want to do it as far as a timeline. And that's totally up to you. But I'd also like to show you where it goes as far as the community aspect of things. So we basically, you can correspond on the course itself, but we also have this mentorship group on Facebook. And here's my welcome right here, but you can see several of the members. And this is where a lot of the communicating is done between different members of the group. And I'm on here as well. I come on here live on Saturdays in order to sort of answer questions, help give new inspiration, and all of that. You can see on here, here's somebody sharing a song. There's psalmings that are shared on here. There's things people have shared on here about journaling. And it's just been beautiful to see not only how skill has been impacted by what we're doing, but also heart. This is also a great place to find co-writers. There's a song map. So yeah, there is a tab where you can find people to help you with co-writing. And the nice thing is everybody has taken the songwriter personality test. So all of them know what that means, and they all understand the value of working with people that have different strengths than you do. So I would love to invite you to join me and many others and be a part of this course. It's available now, and it will be a seasonal offer. We will be closing for the season fairly quickly. So I would recommend, if you'd like to do this, to do it soon. Here's how it works as far as the payment plan goes. You can go with the all-in rate of $397. That includes everything. That includes all your printouts, all the teachings, the group, the community, like all of it is included with that. You can pay all at once, or if you'd like to break it into payment plans, there's the one there of 4 payments of $99 a month. So that helps make it feasible for most budgets to be able to do something like that. So we wanted to make sure to offer an option for those of you that needed it. Also wanted to mention that there is a group rate. So if you have a group at church, your worship team, if you guys want to go through it together, I would highly recommend that. It really does build community when you do it in a situation like that. Our group rate for 10 or less, which is a really good deal, is $597. Or if you want to do that in 3 payments of $199 for that group rate, you can do that as well. So all of those options are available to you. So I hope that you learned something of value, even just being a part of this session with me today. I hope that you can see my heart is for you and for raising up the next generation of worship songwriters. And I would love to see you on the course. And I would love to hear your psalmings, your journalings, your songs, and all that is to come in your songwriting in the future. God bless you.